Hello everybody, this is Russell Denton here with the ASCA League channel, and here we are for race number 16, the season finale of the Copperhead Amateur Series at Kern County. One champion has been determined, but another is yet to go. 4 full-timers battling for the biggest trophy of the season, the Copperhead Amateur Series Championship. That champion is going to be determined today, but first we got to go through our part-timer qualifying to see who will make that main feature. In duel number 1, the number 7 of Colin Lindsay in that Avalon Motorsports Chevy is pacing the field. This is his second attempt at trying to make his first start. Did not qualify at Iowa earlier this season. Has a good shot to try to make it today. Now, Alan Eberhard is the only newcomer to the field this week, and it's not a new driver per se because Eberhard ran Season 3, but Farfan Motorsports, which is a MSCA team, which is a ASCA affiliate, starting up a new team next season, Eberhard being one of those drivers, getting an early start here tonight. Ryder Smith trying to see if he can make the show. Doesn't have any plans for next season though, as many of the drivers of the 78 are still looking for. That car is going to be driven by Josh Joyner Jr. next year, trying to see if they can stick to one driver. We see Constantine Jamison here in the number 2 team, Zygarde, selling off their assets. This is their final race as a team, at least under their name. Same with Global Autosports, becoming TRN Motorsports next season. Those are going to be 2 teams with different names to the equipment. We see Colin Lindsay navigating the lap traffic pretty cleanly here, which is quite good to see, but Matt Dunn is actually going to come through with a big power move on the final turn of the race, and he's going to take the dual victory in this first heat. But obviously Colin Lindsay also going to make the show, not going to miss anything. Also qualifying, Gatlin Downey, Carson Royal once again in his second start with Blue Flare Motorsports, and William Johnston rounding out the field. Rick Witt not able to make either of these last 2 qualifying sessions that he's tried to be a part of. Coldever, Caleb Henderson also on the outside. And in the back here we see a lot of drivers that are hoping to have better seasons next year. Alan Eberhard 19th in that first race for Farfan Motorsports late in the season. We now move on to duel number 2, and Johnny Gardner going to be pacing the field for this one. Gardner will be returning to Fitzwater Astoria Racing, but moving over to the number 49 car, sharing it with Rob Evans, as the team is basically doubling its lineup for season number 5. Red Mustang Racing is going to be another team we're going to say goodbye to. And that team owned by Eric Willis in the Pennzoil Pro Series. Going to focus on his driving, but fortunately the 2 current drivers have their rides locked in for next season. We see Maui Motorsports here is got their unsponsored car, Cyrus McGee. That team is also going to be closing down. Their assets going to be spread around. DBR Motorsports is going to be another team that is selling off. They're going to go to turn into NS Racing. Now, lapped cars are going to play a part in this one, and it's all going to start with AJ Bain breaking something on the first lap, getting into Eli Bright running that 16 for the first time this season, the second attempt for him this year. But Bain missed pit road, then had to come down and finally got back on track, but comes up in front of the leaders and blocks Scott Roush and pushes him further back in the pack as he was running third as it was going through that camera shot. And you can see all the cars going underneath him, but he's not going to be the only one that's causing trouble. TJ Smith gets into the wall, holds up Vinny Beast in the 27, pushes him back, but then they catch back up to the Passing Lane Motorsports cars in the 10 and 16. And Johnny Gardner caught on the outside as his teammate, Samantha Jones, going to go on the inside, as well as those 2 other drivers that got held up. They're eventually going to find their way back into the spots of getting into the show. Samantha Jones going to be able to take the checkered flag and make it, despite the fact that she's not going to be able to have enough points to catch up to Scott Roush, who's already clinched the championship. He'll make the show as well, and so will Henry Guo, Carter Friesen, and Vinny Weiss. Nicholas Wade almost making it in his final attempt as a part-timer. He'll be moving to Avalon next season. Aiden Thomas not able to make it in that 4th entry for Blue Flare. And Kevin Ulrich's final start, or final attempt as a driver, going to end in a 12th place finish, is not going to make the main race. But now it is time for what we've all been waiting for. Time to see who's going to take home the championship. 4 drivers came in here with a potential chance based on points, but because Red Drischel is on the pole, that automatically eliminates Eric Monaco and Julio Cesar from contention. Even though Monaco is down there in 7th place, Denton is the only driver that can still have a shot, qualifying in 6th place, still within earshot, but Driscoll definitely showing speed early in this one. Julio Caesar all the way down here in 19th place. Not a very good start for him, and Colin Lindsay, who just came up short in that first duel, is going to have to start his debut from the back. So Driscoll ready to take an early lead and go for the championship. The green flag's out at Kern County. No surprise here, Martin Driscoll able to use that inside line to get to the lead early. We're going to try to take you through all the full-timers and tell you what their future plans look like, and we'll hopefully hit all of them throughout the race. We'll start off with Driscoll. Obviously, the points leader could become the champion of the 2017 season. Moving to Double Team Motorsports in the Pennzoil Pro Series next season. Going to see what they can do to an operation that really faltered in both divisions this year, and maybe being able to bring some speed back to that team, switching to Chevy. Colin Denton's going to find his way over to Big Motorsports next year, which is one of the top teams in the Pennzoil Pro Series. And you may be wondering why he's above Monaco in standings, who has 3 wins compared to Denton's 1 that came last week. Well, those 9 top 10s are showing a lot of consistency compared to Eric Monaco, who was really up and down throughout the year. And obviously, Monaco now out of a championship spot, but that doesn't mean that he can't try to contend with Denton, maybe go for the runner-up spot in the standings. But he's going to have to work a little bit. Both of the cars are kind of fading back a little bit compared to Driscoll, who's showing the speed early, maybe able to get a win in her final CAS start for the season. Julio Caesar also up here in 3rd place in standings. He got a 5th place run at Kern County last year. Could put up a decent showing, but he started a little bit further back as we have hit a caution early in the going. We'll take a look, and it's Nathan Lukac giving a turn to John Arndt. 25 car will take a 360 and able to get away, but that is going to bring out a yellow flag. And that is going to be an opportunity for the cars to come down and take their pit service, which should be the only one they have to take. It's going to be close on the fuel window, but I think they're confident. Eric Monaco taking a little bit of an extended stop. He didn't really have to do that, but I think since he's out of contention, he might be going for a gamble and trying to see if he can make adjustments that will get him to the win. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to pass enough cars on this very short and tight racetrack. Back to green flag on lap number 13. Now looking at Giovanni Barraza. He's going to be taking the family-owned operation back up to the Pennzoil Pro Series. He has been a winner in that series back in Season 1 at Chicagoland. And the team ran both he and David Barraza for the full season in Season 2 before dropping back to the Copperhead Amateur Series, kind of working their way back up. Nathan Lukac looked promising at the very start of the season, got the win at Bristol, has ran as high as 2nd in the points, but has really fallen back. You can see why someone might have wanted to pick him up earlier in the year. He'll be driving with Double Team Motorsports with Driscoll, but fallen back as of late. Not going to finish great in standings at the end of this year. Alexander Rowe is going to be the final rookie. We'll have 6 in total next year in the Pennzoil Pro Series. He'll be staying on board with Tanker Motorsports, which has really gone downhill compared to the performance last year, and trying to see if Rowe's going to be their answer. Now we'll take a look at who's sticking around. Sebastian Torres moving over to Team SFR next season as Bob Motorsports closing its doors but selling its equipment off to push past Motorsports. But Torres is not going to be running for charter next year as SFR was unable to acquire one, so the team's going to see if they can get their 50 car to finally find some qualifying results with the 3rd-year driver. James Richardson's definitely a driver you want to keep around, the winner at Wisconsin. Going to be retained at Nighthawk Racing along with Isaac Nichols, even though the team is going through a downsize, which is really only going to eliminate their part-time car. And that could be a good team next season. We are going to pay attention to the race, though, as we see the 88 of William Johnson going to make a move on Rudder Driscoll to the inside. Looks like they made some good adjustments on that pit stop. Robert Harrison is probably bringing the biggest news of the week. Now, obviously, Smart Motorsports was not happy with his performance this season. Basically engaged in a driver trade, you could say, for them to invest in Carter Friesen, who they're putting in that ride. And Harrison was going to move over to Red Stallion Racing, still is, but it didn't look like he was going to have a charter until he finally acquired it from Vincent Motorsports, their second charter, with Chris Dodd moving over to a team that was going to be with Kenny Washington, but because of sponsorship, unable to keep that charter on hand. So Harrison is going to be in all the races next year. You see Jeffrey Fingai. Obviously, the 41 car has been underperforming once again this year, obviously with a rookie driver though, and Fingai is going to be retained by the team though, unlike his predecessor, Jake Baskinger, and going to see if they can finally find some speed. Obviously, the 81 car has gotten to that point. Also see Castle Radcliffe. He's going to be moving to his third team in 3 seasons, but he's been running full-time in all of them. The only other driver to do that so far is Patrick Curtis, who will be retained by Rage Tech Racing. Now we're looking back at the 90 of Isaac Nichols. Obviously mentioned that he is going to stick with Nighthawken Racing. It's always good to keep drivers on the teams that they're on. It shows a lot of team stability. And obviously Nichols is a winner in his rookie season. Got the win at Lucas Oil. Dylan Membrilla is going to be the charter driver of Vincent Motorsports. As we mentioned, Kenny Washington loses his charter because of sponsorship, and that moves over to Red Stallion. The team placing their faith in Membrilla to pick it up. Obviously not a lot of drivers that they could pull in to see if they can do better. Membrilla going to get his third opportunity, his second full-time. And we also mentioned Patrick Curtis in his third full-time season next year. We'll be back to the 21 number that's currently held by Colin Denton. That was his original number in Season 3. John Arndt will be moving over to Blue Flare Motorsports. And obviously his performances haven't been going too well. A best finish of 6th, only 2 top 10s this year. Double Team Motorsports really just struggling altogether in both the Copperhead and Pennzoil Pro Series. Gonna see if this change of scenery and a move over to what could be a championship-winning car can do for him. We see William Johnson really pulled away from the pack, but a yellow has come out. And that is going to bring the field back to Johnston, who really pulled out to an extensive lead. And that probably was the last thing he wanted to see. But it looks like it's going to be his teammate that's going to get around it. Caesar's actually going to go for a flip as he smacked the wall in turn number 2. You don't see that very often at a short track. But Julio Caesar managed to pull it off with contact from Henry Guo. And it looks like the 12 came down, but it also looked like the 44 was getting a little bit loose as Guo still kind of punched in the wall coming off the exit. And we watch from the inside of Caesar's car. Not something you see every day at a short track, but now we'll bring out the second caution of the day. Caesar able to drive away and keep it on the track, but he will go a couple laps down as he tries to repair the car. And obviously a little bit slower than the rest of the field, so hopefully he'll be able to keep it out of the way of the guys going a little bit faster. Johnston retains the lead, but Isaac Nichols pulls in the second place. Now in third place is Chris Dodd. He's going to be retiring from driving. Made his debut about halfway through last year with Vincent Motorsports. Became a full-time driver this year, but just hasn't been able to find any performances. Might have a good run though here in his final race. And there were a couple of passing penalties at the restart for Dylan Membrilla and John Arndt. They both have to come down and serve stop-and-go penalties. And the other of the retiring drivers this season, Jake Rogers, he's not going to be leading the sport entirely though. He's going to be a team owner for next season, fielding number 08 for Davey Johnson, a veteran driver from Season 3. And that is going to take us through all the full-timers. We'll look back at the race now as Isaac Nichols trying to see if he can catch back up to Johnston now that he's cleared the 81 car. And the restart brought them back together, but it still looks like the 88 has all the speed so far in this show. Nichols seeing if he can go for his second win of the season. And we should point out a few of the part-timers making their way into full-time competition next season. We mentioned Carter Friesen going to take the 14 seat. Elijah Gordon going to move up and take the 44 seat for Julio Caesar, who's going to the Pennzoil Pro Series. Scott Roush going to stay in the 37 car, but as a full-time driver for Red Stallion, as they obviously now have 2 charters with Harrison carrying the second for the team, which has been one of the dominant ones in the series these past 2 years. Vinny Vies is also going to be a new full-timer, and he'll join Dewey Schramm as a second full-time driver for J. Barker Motorsports. Schramm's been in the 3rd car for the team. That started a little bit further in the season, but that car has really been underperforming, and they're going to stick 2 for next season. 3 laps to go in this race, and Johnston still out front in front of Nichols, as it looks like Smart Motorsports is going to be able to claim 2 of the final 3 races. If Johnston can pull this one off, Johnston staying on board with the team next season as a part-timer, could be a contender for the part-time championship if he's able to show that he has speed. White flag is out here at Kern County. Drischel a little bit further back, looking like she's in the perfect position to go for the championship. And Jake Rogers around on the backstretch. The leaders get around him. They took the white flag, though. They're still racing despite the spin. And William Johnston able to come around the final corner and take the season finale here at Kern County. And a little bit further back, it looks like Merida Drischel taking home a top 10 finish ahead of all of her competitors. Looks like she is going to be your 2017 champion. Let's take a look at this wreck real quick. And it looks like it's going to come from contact with Castle Radcliffe. 98 car already pretty far back in the field. And that's just going to be a very dampering day for the 98 in his final driving start. William Johnston going to do his burnouts to celebrate his victory. Scott Rouse going to finally celebrate his part-time championship that he clinched last week. But the full-time championship is going to go to Merida Drischel in that number 81 Blue Flare Motorsports machine. Last year, 8th place in standings. This year, the championship for the 2nd-year driver. A great run by the 81 car and the team, who put together a tremendous season with a lot of consistency. Looking at the finishing results from this one, a great day for Nighthawk and Racing 2 and 3, all the way up there. Great runs for them. Colin Denton came home with a 10th place run. A great way to end off a season, which should put him in 2nd place in points, as Drischel finishing 6th. Looking back here at the second half and mind the dashes, that does indicate that the cars finished on the lead lap but didn't have an official time. Colin Lindsay's 22nd in his debut as a driver. John Arndt all the way back there in 27th. Monaco here in 16th place. Might get him to 3rd place as Julio Caesar, and his rollover crash puts him in last place. We see the final points positions. Drischel 1st, Denton 2nd. Monaco passes up Caesar for 3rd. And if you're a fan of Superstition, the top running driver to stay in the Copperhead Amateur Series last season was Merida Drischel. That position belongs to the 09 car right now, so if you're Nighthawk and Racing, that's a pretty good omen. And we see Scott Roush obviously taking home the part-time championship. This has been a great season. It's been an honor to call the majority of the races this year. I'm glad to be back for the full season next year. Congrats to Merida Drischel and Scott Roush for their championships. For the ASCA League channel, my name is Russell Denton, and we'll see you next year, folks, for the big races at Daytona.
Every sky will build my so you can throw me to the wall. Tomorrow I will come back, leader of the whole pack. Beat me black and blue. Every word will shake me, every star will build my throne.
Hello everyone, this is Colin on the ASCA League channel, and here we are for the season finale of 2017 here at the Armory Digital Super Speedway. And like we've seen in the years past, 4 drivers come in here with the shot to win the championship. We see 3 of them here in the first 4 rows. Derek Petrie on the pole with Cody Russell, who was outside making his last career ASCA League start. as well as Kyle Collins and Jay Barker chasing the championship starting behind. Kyle Singer, your points leader coming into this race, is going to come from the furthest back in 10th. While it's not too far back, he will still have to try to fight back from that outside lane. Other drivers notable, Zach Komoski, last year's winner at this race, looking for another solid performance here. And we can't forget about the Rookie of the Year Championship points battle with Zach Rain and Garrett Sonora on the line, as Zach Rain did a better job than Garrett Sonora in qualifying, obviously. But this is a super speedway track, and anything can happen. And we'll just have to see how it all plays out in the 48 laps here today. And as we see the pace cars off of the track, and the field of 42 for one final time is going to get the signal to start racing. Derek Petrie on the inside, Cody Russell on the outside, both Heineken-sponsored cars, both Big Motorsports entries ready to lead the field. Green flag is in the air, and we are racing for the last race of Season 4. And watching the cars go through turns 1 and 2, we'll see them do that another 47 times before the race is over. But these drivers are wasting no time getting antsy in the back of the field, already 4 wide. Your defending champion will no longer be the defending champion after this race, though. Michael Jones going 4 wide on that inside line with current chaser Kyle Singer. And as I look through the field, Derek Petrie may be out front, but all of the chasers behind him are all battling for position. Kyle Singer, Jay Barker, Kyle Collins, all right in the midst of that big pack right up front. Riding on board our chaser, current points leader Kyle Singer. We mentioned he was the favorite coming in, obviously at the top of the board. He may only be 2 points ahead of Jay Barker's competitor, but those 2 points could mean something at the end of this race, as we come to see. However, obviously nothing is a given. Super speedways are known for their unpredictability, and we could see someone a long shot like Kyle Collins or Derek Petrie 30 and 31 points back. If Kyle Singer and Jay Barker get swept up in an accident, it is very likely the whole picture could change in an instant. And seeing the picture change right now, Cody Russell is falling back on the outside, and Derek Petrie is under attack by Jay Barker. Barker was a huge what-if coming into this season, and he is a huge competitor here today, with help from teammate Conrad Cooper making his last start in an ASCA League car. He will be going to the spotter stand after this season to spot for national racing and be a driver coach. He's pushing his teammate Coach Jay Barker to the front, and Barker will now see the starter stand, and he will take the 3rd lap of the race under the books. And he will lead his first lap of the race. Barker hopes to come back across that line, though, 45 from now, and lead the last one. But at the moment, he is going to get shoved up to the outside line in favor of some traffic coming on the inside. This track is a cycle, as drivers get cycled to the outside, slowly slip back, and eventually find their way back to the front again on that preferred inside line. And looking back, we mentioned in the starting grid, Zach Rain and Garrett Sonora will be fighting tonight for the Rookie of the Year point standings. They are a couple points apart. Will it be enough, though, for Garrett Sonora? He definitely has a bit of a deficit to overcome. Will he be able to catch Zach Rain in the Old Spice Racing equipment and get Vincent Motorsports the Rookie of the Year title? He'll be returning to this team next season, but having something to lay back on would definitely be a huge accomplishment for that small team. And now we've seen Jay Barker leading, Derek Petrie leading, but how about Kyle Singer, your points leader, now at the front of the field? It didn't take him long to find the front, as the Camping World Chevrolet will go to the lead of the race, and he'll try to lead his first lap of the day. Conrad Cooper just behind him, still sticking up in top with some of the top front runners. Nicholas Samudio and Nikita Rizkov also finding their way into the top 5. And Nikita Rizkov, he's one of the drivers making his final career start in the ASCA League. Nikita, however, his future is uncertain past this point. He could make a return, he could not. That is up in the air. We'll have to see where he goes, but at the moment, he is one of the drivers, for now, making his last start here in the ASCA League. We're looking at Jay Durrell. He is nowhere near done. Your 2015 champion definitely wishes he could be battling for the championship again, but unfortunately, that possibility has eluded him the past few years. Looking to try to build some momentum going back into Season 5 next year in 2018, and looking to hope to rejuvenate Fitzwater Australia Racing as they go to a 2-car operation with Stuart Grattan. And another team worth mentioning is Sam Rogers' team, Malley Motorsports. They have 4 cars out of the 42 entered in this field today, and they would absolutely love to get a win. It is their last race as a team, and Malley Motorsports has been in since the inauguration of the season back in 2014, and they have not won in over 2 years, and they would definitely like to change that before they go out here today at Armory Digital. Jose Vaquez down on power. They've been experiencing some electrical issues since the start of the green flag. However, the pack racing has been able to keep him up with the main group. However, as you can definitely see now, he is starting to fall off, and the first victim of not being a part of the pack has obviously been claimed, as Jose Vaquez is definitely falling off the grid. And as you see, Nick Purcell's is going to be the next driver to sniff the fresh scent of the clean air and being able to control this giant pack of cars. Webster Zygarde and Cesar Chavez just behind him, as a bunch of new faces now showing up in the front as the inside line starts to make its way forward. But how about the car 5th in line right now? You see Nia Devrin in that bright pinkish purple car on the inside line having a great run for Tanker Motorsports, and that's what Super Speedway Racing can do. Just behind her, Logan Sanders as well, your defending Copper Amateur Series champion, who has moved his way up to the Pencil Pro Series. He's looking for a good result here today. But at the moment, Webster Zygarde, a proven veteran, is trying to get the lead away from Purcell's and get his 5th win of the season. And obviously, we mentioned Zach Komoski. We have a bunch of drivers who are known for Super Speedway Racing, but one of the drivers who is best at it is Zach Komoski. His 2 career wins come on the Super Speedways, one in Daytona and an upset victory back in 2015 when he won the season opener. And he also is on a 1-year winless streak because his last win came right here last year, driving for the same team in the same car. He would love to replicate what he did 1 year ago here today again. Obviously, it's not all about the chasers here this week. Everybody here would love to end out the season with a win, and it was sure sweet victory for Zach Komoski, who had a grueling season last year and honestly has not gotten much better for him this year, and looking to try to turn things around. And all around him, though, it is a huge competition. Webster Zygarde, Jay Barker, Jesse Dalton moving in the picture as well, and Derek Petrie also back in the equation, all fighting to get this win, and some drivers with different motives than others. And we have some pit stops here, and we are going to see our first round of green flag pit stops. Purcell's, with a bold move from the top to the bottom, is going to take some people by surprise, I would think, and come down early, as well taking 3 other cars down with him, including Brian Lenning in the 22. And you can see what Purcell's move has done to the pack, and that has separated the group into 2 distinct factions, it looks like, as Rizkov being one of the guys in the front group. And we're going to see how this plays out, as pit stops are going to happen again. I believe the 2 groups won't be too badly affected because of how pit stops are going to work here. And I think since it's so close to pit stops, there won't be much of a difference when it comes down to it. Jose Vaquez, you see, remember his electrical issues. He's going to fall 6 laps down after diagnosing them and going under the hood. However, he will get his car back out on the track. And 60 of Blank, he's also finding troubles. He had a loose wheel and would have to come down to get that fixed on that number 60 machine. Bad luck for him in his final start for Knight Hoffman Racing. But out in front, Nikita Rizkov, Nick Purcell's 2 of the 5 drivers in that main pack, but they're not the leaders. Look at this underdog story. We were just mentioning Nia Devert before going to pit stops, but she has rolled the dice, and that Tanker Motorsports driver has taken 2 tires and has really decided to come out with guns blazing here. 47th in points coming into this race. It has been a horrible season for this driver, but she wants to make a name in the last race, and this is possibly the best one you can do. That just in, because Nia Devert leading laps here in the season finale. She'll be going over to Double T Motorsports. This is exactly what you want to do going over to the new season. And she will lead at halfway, but the second pack you see coming very quickly. Addison Steinbach in the 23 car will go to the inside and easily take the lead. But Jay Barker, if I notice, he is the only chaser in this front group. And you just have to admire the wonders of pack racing. But look who's coming. The second pack is not going to wait around for long. And in that second pack, I see Kyle Singer. And Kyle Singer knows Barker is his main enemy right now when it comes to the championship. And he has to get up there and challenge, and he is going to do just that. That is close enough where they can easily catch the front group again. But I don't see any other chasers up here. It is just the top two in the front pack. Meanwhile, the other two chasers are mired way back in the field, around the 30th position mark for Derek Petrie and Kyle Collins. Neither had a good pit stop and are suffering and paying the price right now. They're going to have to hope for a caution because that pack is not going to be able to catch the front group. You also notice the two Rookie of the Year competitors are battling it out right here, the 39 and the 40 cars, as they are close to each other, but the points gap is big enough that I don't think being close to each other is going to make much of a difference. But out in front, you can see the big pack hasn't really, it has dropped off a little bit, but it's still big enough that it could be a little hectic here. I see some 4 wide, a little bit, maybe 3 wide, definitely 3 wide, at least 4 or 5 rows deep. But at the front of the field, it is Brian Boone, and you cannot leave out Brian Boone from this equation. You have to consider Brian Boone has a 9.8 average finish coming into this race. That's simply unheard of in the ASCA League, and he is trying for his 17th top 10 finish in 24 starts. What an amazing season it has been for Brian Boone, and despite him not running for the championship, it has definitely been one to remember and one to definitely try to replicate next season. Back on board, Kyle Singer as he runs in the middle of the pack, and he can just barely see that yellow spoiler on Jay Barker's number 2 machine, as he knows that is the car he needs to beat in order to win this championship. Kyle Collins and Derek Petrie, frankly, are just too far behind at this point to be a factor in this championship battle. I think we are down to just a 2-horse race, and it is going to come down. There will be one more round of pit stops. Who will have the better one, Kyle Singer or Jay Barker, and who will be able to compromise with this traffic and be able to get to the front the best and the most effectively? And right now, that driver is Jay Durrell in the 43, as he has taken the lead, or at least attempting to, on the number 70 car. And Durrell trying to get the lead and to take the win. That would definitely be a spark of confidence moving the 2 cars after the season. It'll be the first time Fitzwater Australia Racing will have 2 full-time cars rather than a full-time and a part-time car like we saw way back in 2014. But they have been notably the single-car team every week coming to the track, the single-car powerhouse that has been known to win races. But recently the team has lost a little bit of their fire, trying to gain it back here today and maybe carry some of this momentum over into 2018. Looking at Jesse Dalton, another one of the drivers retiring after this year. He'll be moving to a part-time team owner for Rage Attack Racing. And Jesse Dalton, one of the many drivers who is making their final starts here today. See Nikita Riskov just behind him. A bunch of these drivers looking to have a good outing in their last start. And Dalton not having a bad one here today. He has definitely performed very well for National Racing. Exceeded a lot of expectations actually in that JLG Chevrolet. And we see a few cars coming down pit road. It looks like 2 familiar faces for coming down early. Daniel Voiles and Brian Lenning will make the hard left-hand turn down to pit road. And the Target Ford and the Take 5 Chevrolet will be the first cars down pit road. And Nia Dever, remember that 2 tires pit strategy, that really played out in her favor, and she is going to come down pit road with a few others behind her. And playing that strategy this time is the 12 and the 70 cars, both of them deciding to stay out on 2 tires. And they have definitely taken a page out of the Tanker Motorsports book, as they are trying to see how it will work for them. Webster Zygarde obviously not as quick on the pit stop as Brian Boone, as Boone is checked out right now, but there are simply too many laps left in this race, I think, for it to matter. And looking back behind them, that's Nick Purcell's and Jay Barker. Barker, a championship contender, looking very strong in the later going in this run. Remember, if we don't have a caution, that was our last scheduled pit stop, and it is now a run to the end. Voiles coming on the inside of Purcell's as he will make it up to the second position. We can't forget about Voiles either. He's had a pretty solid season, but there's one thing he has still not yet to do, which is so surprising: score a top 10 finish. And Voiles would love to change that here today, running second place. He's just got to hold on to it. And the pack has reeled in Brian Boone with under 10 laps to go. And Nick Purcell's will make it underneath the 70 car to go to the lead. But just behind him, look no further than Kyle Singer and Jay Barker, your two championship contenders. We told you pit stops could play a factor at who comes out on top. Well, both of them nailed the pit stops, and they are running in this top pack. And both are they're at a pretty much a 50-50 chance at winning this championship. Barker and Kyle Singer is going to be a battle of who can finish in front of the other, because at this point they're only separated by 2 points. Some of the spots up in the top are separated by 3 points when it comes down to points paying positions, and that is enough for one spot to make the big difference. And right now, lap traffic actually coming into play. Allison Rhodes is going to get in the way of some of our leaders. Addison Steinbach and Nick Purcell's are going to get held up. A quick shout out to Addison Steinbach. It's been over 3 years since his last victory. And then look, compiling it with his team owners, 2 wins, 2 years since their last victory. That entire organization and team would love to get it done here and get a win today. And they are in a position to do it. It's a super speedway. Anything can happen with a little bit of luck. But looking back in the field, these guys are going to need a little more than just luck in order to win. You see Kyle Collins, and Derek Petrie, they are pretty much out of this at this point. I don't think if we get a caution, that'll be enough time to even get up and get challenged with the top 2. And you see Zach Rain, he has fallen way back off the field. He is behind that pack even. And remember, that pack has Garrett Senor. He can't lose too much ground to Senor, or else he will risk losing the points lead in the Rookie of the Year standings to Senor. But Rain trying to hold on right now as desperately as he can in order to hang on to that spot. But one driver doing the same as Kyle Singer, points leader. He's trying to fend off Barker, but Barker is just behind him. Voiles currently holding the lead, doing everything he can to try to give Smart Motorsports their first win of the year and their first win as an organization in the Pennzoil Pro Series. What a year it would be if Smart Motorsports could come after debuting at Daytona earlier in the year. They could show all the progress they made, and they could win here at Armory Digital. But Barker would love to deny him, and he would love to secure his 3rd win of the season and go on to win the championship. But Kyle Singer, you see, trying to push on that outside line. He has a little help from his teammate Webster Zygarde just behind. And it is a 4-wide situation. Zach Komaski, last year's defending winner of this race, still in contention and ready to win. I'm sure he'd love to go back to back, but at the moment it's the Barker and Voiles show out front. And that Toolcraft Chevrolet and the Target Ford are going neck to neck, but Voiles will be able to clear, and here comes Komaski. Komaski almost runs it up into the wall, and that will put Kyle Singer, as he pretty much shoved the 88 out of the way, as Singer desperately tries to hold on and to keep in touch with the 2. This close to the front of the field, it is just one spot that Jay Barker needs over Kyle Singer, and Kyle Singer cannot give it up. Jay Durrell, he needs that spot. He's going to get in line and try to draft the 2, and here he comes to the outside of Barker with a few laps remaining. And he's going to get in line with Voiles, but lap traffic, I believe that's Hergio Arvin Alonso in the 75 car, and he's going to hold things up a little bit. Oh, he's definitely going to hold things up a little bit, and that's huge. And Kyle Singer is dropping back in the later stages. And with just 2 laps to go, Singer has been held up by the 75 car. Oh, and look, this is disastrous. Look at all the cars going by. And in the meantime, Jay Barker has sailed into the distance, but he is by no means safe either. Here comes Webster Zygarde in the 12. Boone following just behind, and Brian Lenning also looking for his first career victory. As he is a 4-year vet, he would love to get it done here today. But out front, it is Webster Zygarde seeing the white flag in the air. Voiles coming back on the outside with a hard charge. But it is definitely Kyle Singer who we are focusing on. Can he make it back to the front? And Barker is on the outside. Jay Durrell, will he push him up the track? Kyle Singer's got to hope for something here. He cannot risk this many positions. At most, he can allow 1 driver in between, if that. And Singer is not making much progress, but Voiles is going to push the 2 up the track. Here comes Voiles on the inside looking for the win, but most importantly, Barker trying to hold on. And out of turn 4, coming to the start-finish line, Webster Zygarde in a commanding lead, and Kyle Singer doing everything he can. I don't think he's going to get there. Checkered flag flies for the number 12 of Webster Zygarde, but as for the championship, Jay Barker, I believe with that finish, has confirmed his name in history as the 4th ASCA League champion. That is unofficial at this point, but that was a lot of cars in between him and Kyle Singer at the end of that. It'll come down just to a few points at the end, I'm sure, but I believe it is enough for Barker to overtake Singer. Remember, he was just 2 points back, and these positions are not worth that many. As we will see if Barker will have enough points at the end officially in order to crown him champion, but it definitely looked like it was. But as for Webster Zygarde, give it up for your season-high winner of races. 5 wins on the season for Webster Zygarde as he burns it down one more time. And Zach Rain has been announced as the Rookie of the Year champion. Congratulations to Zach Rain, but here is the one you all wanted to see. Who wins the Pennzoil Pro Series Championship? It is Jay Barker securing his name in history as the 4th champion. And he will take National Racing to their first championship of their careers. And Barker getting it done and spinning donuts in the grass. And he will join history on the Armory Digital's checkered flag stage, as he is your 2017 Pennzoil Pro Series champion. Webster Zygarde, another win in the books for him just to cap off a very solid season. He'll finish 5th in points, unfortunately, though. Daniel Voiles finally gets that top 10, and Jay Barker, 3rd place was enough over Kyle Singer in 6th to take the championship win. Last year's champion Michael Jones will finish at 25th place, but also looking, I see Derek Petrie, another chaser, 26th. That did not end well for him, as he was going to need a whole lot better than that, especially Kyle Collins, who finishes 31st. Not what he wanted. And Zach Rain, despite finishing 39th, his car number, he will still be able to beat Garrett Sindor in points because of just the lack of positions in between them. And here is the finishing official results in points. It was only 4 points over Kyle Singer that Barker beat him by, and the 2 behind him were left in the dust of more than a race of points back for each of them. And looking down the grid of chasers who had fallen by the wayside, Addison Steinbach was able to rack up the most points out of the drivers not in the championship, with Riskov finishing just behind. But that will wrap up another great season of ASCA racing action. This is Colin on the ASCA League channel, signing out. Until next time.
Every scar will build my throne.